Hey, Shalom, brothers and sincere sisters in this truth. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutation to you like the Akyam across the four corners of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and truth. You know, I don't want to make this too long. I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures. Most of it's going to be just the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. And, you know, of course, when you look all over the place, you know, especially in these rich neighborhoods, you see their nice houses, their nice cars. You know, we're living in the ghettos and barrios, you know, got McDonald's in all our neighborhoods and shit. You know, you can see that this place isn't for us. You know, that's if you have eyes to see. You can see that your enemy is ruling over you. But ultimately, this goes back to the curses. So I'm just going to bring out this scripture, or a few scriptures going into this parable. And I'm going to bring out a few precepts as well, just to help break this down. But man, we need a kingdom. We need to get the hell up out of here, man. And Thawadi Haba Shibi Hawashai, it's coming soon. You can see the downfall of your enemy right in front of your face. Again, that's if you have eyes to see. So, Lord willing, this video is edifying. You know, when I read it, it gave me a sense of hope. You know, and that's what these scriptures do. They're to inspire you and to give you hope. You know, so we can endure all the way to the end. All right. So with that being the case, I'm going to start at verse 19, chapter 16. There was a certain rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. Okay, so he progressed every day. He got his money like the Rothschilds, the elites. They make money every day. You know, they don't got to worry about working. I remember Elder Anap, he went to the scripture and broke it down very well. Broke it down beautifully. Okay, but this so-called white man is progressing every day. And most of the time he's progressing off the backs of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, he's the one that gives out the loans. He's the one that gives out the grants. You know, he's the one that passes looks at your credit score to see if you're worthy enough to get that car or whatever the case might be. Okay, it says he's fared sumptuously every day. You know, he's the one that has these big businesses, has the nice cars, owns the big companies. You know, and a lot of you jakes are the ones working there, busting your backs every day. All right, verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. Okay, now when you think of this spiritually, when you think of the rich man, you know, that's the so-called white man. All right, because when you go to Genesis 27th chapter, starting at the 38th verse, it talks about how this devil Esau was going to have the fatness of the earth. He was going to rule the sword and have the fatness of the whole land. Okay, so that shows you that he's the rich man, because when you go into that word fatness in the Greek, in the Hebrew, I believe that word is mashman. Okay, and when you go into that word, it means to eat well, or to eat richly. Okay, to live a lavish life, and that's what you see. And when you go into this certain beggar who was Lazarus, it talks about he's laid with sores. Okay, and that's us. That's our people. We're the ones that's afflicted every day. When you go into those sores, those represent slavery and affliction. And again, that's our people for you. We're the ones that's in the ghettos, the barrios, have all the diseases. Like it said in Isaiah, the 1st chapter, the 5th verse, it talks about the whole head being sick. All right. So we're laying at the gate, the rich man's door, full of sores. All right. And why are we laid at his gate? Because we're in want of all things. Like the scriptures talk about, we were going to have to go to him for the want of all things. Okay. Verse 21. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. And again, those are the little BS jobs that they give us, the warehouse jobs that you almost have heart attacks in daily, have heat strokes and shit. McDonald's, Burger King, even you might end up getting a job at Best Buy or something like that, or maybe even State Farm, and think that you living, getting you $12 to $18 an hour. But meanwhile, this devil owns his business and making millions off of you and barely has to do any work. Okay, we're the ones full of sores asking this devil just for crumbs, and that's what he's only giving us, barely giving us the crumbs. Okay, we're in a dead state. Our people are in a dead state right now. Okay, and I'm gonna jump to another precept really quick and go back. I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48, because ultimately this is a product of the curses. This is a product of our screw up. But now our Lord's getting ready to come back, and he's getting ready to switch gears and turn the tables in this paradigm shift that's to come very soon. Okay, But as I said, we were going to be laying at the gate, all right, and going to want the crumbs. This is an example when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger. When you're begging for crumbs, that means you're hungry, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And that's what Esau's been doing. Like those swords, that goes into the swords, that yoke of iron that destroyed us. Okay, that's the affliction that we catch. That's the slavery. All right, that's that cup that ultimately we weren't meant to drink, but we have to drink it. All right, I'm gonna go back to Luke, the 16th chapter. I'm gonna go back to the 20th verse. All right, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, who was laid at gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell upon the rich man's tables. And you even got other examples of the crumbs which go to WIC, how a lot of our black women are on the WIC program because they can't afford to give babies their food, and they give them formula and shit. You know, EBT, food stamps. You got to beg for that. The reason why you have to beg is because you have to go through a certain process just to get it. You know, ultimately, if it's free food, they should just be able to give it to you. But they try to make it harder for you. And now it's to the point where they're actually taking that out of the equation. In certain states, you can't even get your food stamps anymore. All right. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell upon the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And those dogs represent the other nations, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Ishmaelites, all these other nations that come to your poor neighborhoods and set up stores in your face. That's throwing salt in your womb already. Okay, we got our neighborhoods, we can't even set up stores, and they come over here and they'll get a loan, or not even a loan, they'll get a grant, be able to make a 7-Eleven, make a hair store, make certain restaurants just by coming over here. And a lot of times they do it to your neighborhoods, and they'll put a lot of poisoning in your foods just so you continue to get sick. Okay? Talking about this devil puts diseases in your food, puts diseases in your body just so you'll have to go to the hospital, spend money to get it treated, not cured, but treated, so you can keep on going back to the hospital. And that's why they keep money. That's why he's rich from the start. Okay, he's making money off of our sores. He'll give you some water and call it miracle water and tell it to throw it on your womb, and then something else will happen. You'll have to go back there and keep on doing it. The cycle continues. Okay. Verse 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. Okay, so this is symbolic. It doesn't mean that Lazarus died and went to heaven and the rich man died and was buried. No, this is symbolic to that paradigm shift that I was to talk about. Okay, like it says in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Like when you're a spiritual man, you can see that all these scriptures link up to one another. Okay? And once you can see those scriptures link up to one another, you can see what's going to happen later on through the spirit of the Most High Yahweh dealing with you. Okay? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai being in you. You can see stuff like this. It talks about blessed be those servants that see the things that I see. And we can see this devil's kingdom coming to an end. Just by reading the scripture, it gives you an example of how it's to come. And also you have numerous scriptures and example as well to help edify. Okay? So again, it says the rich man also died and was buried. And in hell, he lifted up his eyes, being in torments and seeing Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. Okay, now what's this hell is talking about? Because it's not talking about this man being in fire burning forever. No, that's a fallacy. That's not what it's talking about. Because we're in hell right now. Like when you go to Isaiah the 14th chapter, it talks about how he was cast down to hell. That's talking about the grave, like the scripture's going into. That means that the so-called white man is getting ready to get up out of his rulership, and Lazarus, who represents Israel, is about to get ready to get in his rulership, which is heaven. Because you have the rich man, or Esau, who is in his heaven right now, barely feeding us, giving us the crumbs. We're at this man for one of all things. But then as the paradigm shift changes and Yahweh Shai comes back and sets up his kingdom on the planet Earth, that's when you'll see the so-called white man in his hell, in his slavery. And he's going to be asking us for certain things. And he's going to see that Israel is going to be at a high state, even richer than he ever was. Because ultimately, what it talks about Abraham being up there, we're children of Abraham, and the blessing and the promise, it was ultimately given to Abraham anyway. So that's just showing Israel going back into the power that was rightfully given to Israel from the start. It's that sword being taken away from Esau. All right. Like it says in Revelation, death and hell was thrown into the lake of burning fire. That's going to happen. And also slavery, which is that cup poured without mixture, like it says in the book of Jeremiah. All right. Verse 23. And in hell, he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and sees Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I'm tormented in this flame. Okay, and that shows you that he's going to be in agonizing pain when it comes to his punishment. Okay, because as it says in Revelations, give double unto her, and they're going to receive that cup twofold. All right. And when he says dip his finger in the water so we can cool my tongue off, he's talking about showing mercy on me. Showing mercy. Okay, that's what the rich man is saying. Show mercy on me. But he's not going to get mercy shown unto him, because the scriptures talk about that. The scriptures talk about him going to slavery and then being burnt up forever. Because did he show mercy on us at any time in his kingdom? No. So why should we have to show mercy on this devil? This devil done poison the air, poison the foods. Animals hate this devil. Trees are falling down. You got bees dying. You don't see lightning bugs no more. Kids are in a stupid state because of the foods that they're eating, but they want mercy to be shown on them. Got me fucked up. Excuse my language. These devils aren't going to receive mercy. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up another precept really quick. And it's in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Because it talked about how the rich man died and Lazarus was brought up into Abraham's bosom. That means that Israel is going to be placed in their blessing again, because the promise and blessing was given to Abraham and it was going to be given to his children, as the scriptures talk about. Okay. And this devil's rulership is up. So once you go jump to verse 16, it says, therefore, all that devour thee shall be devoured. Is that not what it's talking about in Luke, the 16th chapter, with Lazarus and the rich man? Did not the rich man devour Lazarus? And is it not going to be switched around? Is that not why he's asking for mercy, asking for water on his tongue? And all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be as spoil. And all that I prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Okay, so what's going to happen to these people? It's going to happen to these people ultimately at the end of the day. You're not going to see them ruling no more in their Bugattis, their big houses, their big corporations, their big businesses. Ultimately, that stuff is going to be brought to naught, and Israel's going to rule. What's a chariot to a Lamborghini? Okay, what's a 5-story house to a palace made of gold and silver, and jewels and rubies? You can't compare it. He's going to go into captivity like we was in captivity. We asked for crumbs. He didn't want to give us the crumbs. But now when he's in his state of emergency, when he's in his state of captivity, he's going to ask for water. He's going to ask for mercy. He's going to ask for all of that. But as I continue in Luke, the 16th chapter, you're going to see what it talks about. Okay, verse 17, for I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thy wounds. That's those swords that we read about that Lazarus had, where it talks about the dogs lick those swords. Okay, it says, for I will restore health. He will restore our swords from us. Okay, so we don't have to worry about these other nations, these dogs licking our swords and making them hurt anymore. We're going to be restored. We're going to have the laws, statutes, and commandments in our inward parts, so we can keep pushing and keep on going. So we can profess the name of Yahweh while Yahweh shine boldly. All right. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahweh. Because they have called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, who no man seeketh after. Now again, when you go to Luke 16, Shalakia, when you go to Luke the 16th chapter, it says, this Zion, who no man seeketh after. Okay, no man was seeking after a man who was laden with swords, who was full of swords. It talks about those swords being hilt. Okay, it talks about us being a beggar, but then us getting carried to Abraham's bosom, which is the kingdom that was promised to us from Jump Street. All right. So verse 24 again. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in the water. And why is he asking Lazarus to do it? Because Lazarus, who represents Israel, is going to have the rich man who represents Esau into captivity. So he's not going to go to nobody else. He's not going to go to the dogs for it. He's going to go to Lazarus, because Lazarus is going to be the ones ruling. Again, Lazarus representing Israel. Verse 25. But Abraham said, son. Remember, Esau is a child of Abraham too. Son, Remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things. And again, that's what we see in front of our faces. They receive the corporations, the businesses, the yachts. They receive the cars, the houses. Everything in this world is theirs because they were given the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. Okay? So he's asking them to remember, Salakia. He's asking them to remember the good things. And likewise, Lazarus, evil things. Because that's all we received on this side was evil things. Slavery, afflictions, diseases, gout, poison in our foods, lead in our water, you know? But now he is comforted and thou art tormented. Okay? So it's beautiful how Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai works with the balance. Because now he talks about us being comforted and them being tormented. Because before, they were the ones in comfort and we're the ones tormented right now. Again, where I'm sitting at right now, I'm just looking at the neighborhood and there's big houses everywhere. And I bet you about 85% of the people that live in these enormous houses are Edomites. This is their comfort. A lot of them ain't at work right now. A lot of them at home chilling because they have their businesses that they already running. They have grants and loans that they just received with ease. They didn't have to get really credit checks. We can't even get loans taken out without them being denied, without them looking at us like we crazy. But everybody else can get a loan. We can't really get grants. We're tormented right now. That's why we have low-end jobs, high turnover rate jobs. Keep on having a new job every year because we can't keep the old job that we have because it's detrimental to our health. Okay? Verse 26. And beside all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that they would pass from whence you cannot, neither can they pass to us that will come from them. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham said unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them for the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, through one rose from the dead. You know, and the one that rose from the dead ultimately was Yahweh Shai. And also, too, Lazarus rose from the dead as well. And it's beautiful. Well, Yahweh Shai had to do it, but it's beautiful how Lazarus represents Israel. Because Lazarus was brought from the dead. Okay? When you go to Hosea, I can't remember the chapter and the verse, it talks about us being dead for 3 days and rising up, which is Israel. Okay? So ultimately, we're in the 3rd day right now, man. We finna get risen up from this hell. It talks about us being dead when Yahweh Shai was dead, okay? But it also talks about us being risen up. And ultimately, that's what's gonna happen, man. And if you're spiritual, you can see these things going on right now. This devil is getting tackier with all the moves that he makes, with everything that he does. He's getting sloppier and sloppier and sloppier. You know, if you can't see his downfall is here, then I really don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say, you know, but ultimately it's beautiful how the Most High is setting this devil up for his destruction. He's setting this rich man up for his destruction. When you go to Job, the 20th chapter, it talks about all the riches and wealth that he swallowed up shall be spewed out of his mouth. And that's what we see. Hillary Clinton damn near dropping dead. Donald Trump's getting ready to be elected for president. Again, like I said before, this devil's getting tackier and tackier. Lazarus is finna be rose up from the dead soon as before, man. Except for symbolically, we're Lazarus, okay? We're finna be brought to a high state. We finna have a kingdom. We're finna have a rulership, okay? We finna be in a city full of all good things. This devil, this rich man, Esau can have this blessing. It's all synthetic anyway. There's nothing real over here. It's just death and destruction. That's all it is. And if I continue on, it's just going to be a rant. But Lord willing, it was edifying. All right? Lord willing, it was edifying. Again, first and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutation to your elect Akim across the 4 corners of this earth, kicking his word in sincerity and truth. Man up, shalom.